The way unified communications is defined by Frost and Sullivan is that it is an amalgamation of a lot of components, including presence, including collaboration, including email, unified messaging, instant messaging, um, uh, conferencing, collaboration, and things like that. And when this particular set of applications are deployed in conjunction with each other, so if there are two or more applications out of this suite of applications are deployed together in an organization, we call it a unified communication deployment. And this particular set of applications also not only focuses inward, but also moves out and focuses on applications like SCM, CRM, as well as contact center. So this entire ecosystem is what is defined as unified communications. Unified communication can be deployed more robustly using an IP infrastructure, because your IP infrastructure allows you to share, collaborate, and use resources in a common pool. Whereas, as well as the scalability, the adaptability, and the long-term view of the technology moving towards IP is what actually proves that if your infrastructure is based on IP, then the deployment towards unified communication helps. Whereas in TDM per se itself is at the end of the life cycle kind of scenario. TDM is moving towards a hybrid scenario where enterprises are trying to see how they can improve the life cycle or the lifetime of the infrastructure which has already been deployed. And the next step is actually the IP infrastructure, and that's the evolutionary project, the process of the entire technology. But yes, IP based unified communication, we have seen that has much higher benefits over a longer period of time compared to a TDM based infrastructure, which is at the end of the life cycle. A telephone line based infrastructure, which is called a TDM infrastructure, time division multiplex, has got its own limited capability in terms of scalability, in terms of adding features, value, value added offerings, or adding applications. Secondly, TDM has got some basic challenges around how you can collaborate with various standalone or silo applications, IT infrastructure, which is a very clear advantage which IP infrastructure has. IP infrastructure allows you to share, collaborate. Scalability is much better compared to TDM. It's a advancement, or it's a next step towards how IT infrastructure is going to be in some time moving forward compared to TDM, which is at the end of the life cycle. Secondly, deploying, maintaining TDM over a period of time, starting now, where you are carrying forward a legacy system, will always be a challenge in terms of more money needs to be spent. So over a period of time, so I would not say a return of investment. I would more look at total cost of ownership. And if you look at a total cost of ownership over a period of time, there can be very good examples of how IP actually scores much higher compared to TDM infrastructure. We worked with a large nationalized bank which had a hub and a spoke model of working, which means that a consumer actually comes to the spoke or the endpoint, applies for a loan or a financial product, and that product has to be physically entered into that spoke model. It travels from the spoke to the hub, where it is looked through, scrutinized, and if there are any questions, it goes back to the endpoint and again to the user. Right? The user makes the necessary changes, comes back, goes back to the hub. A thorough examination takes place. Somebody from the hub actually visits that place for a physical verification or any other kind of a legal verification and things like that. And over this period of time, from the time the application was submitted to the actual time when the entire reimbursement happened, it is nearly a 2 to 3 weeks process, and maybe more depending on the efficiency of a particular product. But majority of cases it was 2 or 3 weeks or a 4 weeks process. When we studied the entire process, and when we actually try to study how a UC or a unified communication deployment can actually help this entire process, we found out that the entire time frame went down from nearly 14 to 15 working days to 2 working days. The cost involved per per employee or per application went down by nearly 65-70%, and officially the efficiency which came from nearly 30-40% to nearly 80-90% efficiency in terms of doing the entire process. So it is not that the process was default. No, the process was not default. I mean, that was a process to be followed. But how using unified communication in their organization, this entire process was actually shrinked or compressed, both in terms of time as well in terms of efficiency.